You might have heard about the importance of protein in our diet, but how much should we actually be consuming daily? Actually, the question should be how much should you be consuming daily? In fact, the amount of protein each individual should consume is related to their weight, activity level, and age. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to calculate that amount. My name is Claudia. I'm a 45-year-old holistic nutritionist with a master's in human nutrition and dietetics, and I help busy women in the 40s make healthy eating easy. Before we dive into the numbers, let's quickly understand why protein is so important. One of the main reasons protein is often mentioned is its role in muscle growth and maintenance. This is especially important for women as we tend to lose muscle mass as we age, a condition known as sarcopenia. In fact, after the age of 30, women lose 3 to 5% of muscle mass per decade, and this tends to accelerate after menopause due to hormonal changes. Protein is also crucial for maintaining the health of our bones, tissues, and ligaments, reducing the risk of fractures. Additionally, protein is necessary for the production of hormones and enzymes that keep our body functioning properly. Protein helps to keep us feeling full for longer after meals and boosts our metabolism, assisting in maintaining a healthy weight or achieving weight loss when needed. Having enough protein in our meals also helps in maintaining stable blood sugar levels. Do you need any more reasons to be convinced about the importance of protein? Protein is one of the 7 lessons in my online course, Healthy Meal Plan 2.0. Personalize your meals based on your body's needs. Depending on when you're watching this video, I might have already launched the course, or it might be upcoming. Either way, check out the link in the description box for more information. In this self-paced course, I teach you how to create meal plans that are tailored to your needs and feature healthier versions of your favorite recipes. You might still have time to take advantage of the launch offer, which includes 3 months of free access to my new online community. In the community, we will have the chance to hang out, do meal planning together, and address any questions you might have. I can't wait to see you there. Now, let's determine the amount of protein you need based on your individual factors. First, we need to define your activity level and assign a corresponding number for our calculation. If you're mostly sedentary and don't engage in regular physical activity or go to the gym, your number is 1.2. If you engage in regular activities such as going to the gym 3 or more times a week and walking about 10,000 steps a day, your number is 1.4. If you're an athlete or you're extremely active, your number is 1.6. You might be aware that some guidelines recommend an intake of 0.8 grams per kilograms of body weight. However, this is the minimum amount necessary for our bodies to survive. Since we don't want to just survive but thrive, let's use the right amount. Now, we have to multiply your weight in kilograms by your activity number. But before that, if you know your weight in pounds, let's convert it to kilograms by dividing your weight in pounds by 2.2. This will give you your weight in kilograms. Now, multiply your weight in kilograms by your activity number. For example, let's say I weigh 56 kilograms and I go to the gym regularly and lead an active lifestyle. I will multiply 56 by 1.4, which gives me a total of 78.4. This amount refers to the total grams of protein you should consume daily, not the weight of foods containing protein. If you fall into the obese category and the recommended grams of protein seems a bit too high, you can make the calculation using your goal weight. For overweight individuals, use your current weight. If you have watched some of the documentary about the blue zones and the Mediterranean diet, you might be wondering if the protein recommendation we have discussed so far, including if it's animal source or plant-based source, are aligned with the studies and suggestions on longevity. Well, we need to consider that many of those recommendations are based on epidemiological studies, which analyze populations and identify patterns. In those cases, though, it's impossible to draw a cause and effect relationship because we are not looking at the results after applying a treatment. Growing up in Sardinia until the age of 24, my experience is that animal source protein, meat, fish, dairy, and eggs as well as horse meat, snails, and even tripe and pork bowels have always been part of my family's diet, as well obviously as legumes and plenty of seasonal fruits and vegetables. The first time I had ever heard of soy and soy-derived products was well after I moved abroad. Now we have determined the total amount of protein needed. The next question is, when should we consume this protein? Ideally, we want to distribute these amounts equally between our meals. For some of my clients who tend to experience cravings or generally need a mid-morning or mid-afternoon snack, I recommend having a higher amount for breakfast and dinner, while keeping lunch at a slightly lower amount. Ensuring we have enough protein for breakfast sets us up for stable energy levels throughout the day, helping us avoid cravings, while having enough protein for dinner may help avoid any nighttime snacking urges. Different foods contain varying amounts of protein. In general, animal-sourced foods are the richest in protein. Most importantly, we don't need to choose between plant-based and animal-sourced proteins, as our meals can easily include both. I will create a separate video focusing on high-protein foods and their respective gram quantities, so make sure to hit that subscribe button to avoid missing it. In the meantime, if you want to know the protein content of a specific recipe of yours, you can identify the protein-containing ingredients and search on Google for the protein content in that specific amount of foods. For example, if a recipe calls for 30 grams of chicken breast, you can search how many grams of protein in 30 grams of chicken breast. I understand that this process can be time-consuming, and luckily there are many apps available that can provide detailed nutritional information and can help keep track of our protein intake. My personal favorite is Chronometer, and I have included the link in the description box. Chronometer allows you to add your personalized recipes along with the quantities of each ingredient, and it calculates the amounts of protein, carbs, fats, fiber, amino acids, and multiple micronutrients. The paid version offers even more detailed information, but the free version is already quite good. I recommend most of my clients to track their foods for at least a couple of weeks to have a realistic idea on how much protein they're eating daily. Now, we don't have to be exact by the gram of protein, but I always recommend to try to keep it close to that number. You see, consuming significantly more protein than our body needs can be taxing on our system, as excess amount of protein is considered as waste by the body, and it needs to invest extra energy to get rid of it. This calculation of protein we have talked so far is on point for adults until the age of 65. After 65, and particularly for women, we should increase our protein intake to help maintaining muscle and body structure. It's important to note that as we age, our body's production of stomach acid decreases as well. Stomach acid plays a crucial role in breaking down protein for absorption. To combat this, in addition to increasing protein intake, we should also incorporate foods that naturally increase stomach acid production. For example, like apple cider vinegar. Now that we have covered your protein needs, you might also want to check this video about how to boost metabolism or this one about anti-aging foods. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for new videos every Sunday. Thanks so much for tuning in e ci vediamo nel prossimo video. Ciao!